said, if you put questions into the chat at the bottom of the screen, Chris and Sheila and I will all be talking, but Chris will be monitoring the chat, so he can speak up if you submit a question. And we record the webinar, so you can see that there's a recording up in the upper left-hand corner. We also keep track of the questions you submit, so that if you submit a question that is really specific to you, or that we, for whatever reason, can't answer during the webinar, we will follow up with you. So great. If you want to move on, Chris. So again, like I said, my name is Suri Deitch. I'm the Dean of the School of Professional Advancement. I've been the Dean for starting my 4th year, actually, and I'm really excited to be able to speak to you tonight about the school and the amazing work that we're doing. And I'm joined by my colleagues, like I said, Sheila Gold and Chris Lloyd, both of whom work with recruitment and admissions, and who will be your primary contacts as you go through the admissions process. And so we'll go ahead and launch into the rest of the agenda. So Tulane is an interesting university because it has a long history of having educated working adults going back to the 1880s. And actually, the university itself was founded as the Medical College of Louisiana in 1834 to develop professionals to focus on tropical disease. And so applied learning and preparation for the workplace are very deep in the DNA of Tulane. And we're very proud of that history, and we're proud to be part of the School of Professional Advancement, which is the most current iteration of that long-term commitment. So we primarily serve working adults and offer applied learning programs. We also offer, and we'll say a little bit more about this in a few minutes, we also offer liberal arts and humanities programs that are targeted to working adults, but those are the areas in which we focus. We always like to say that, if we have been around in our current iteration for a little more than 2 years. We changed the name a couple of years ago, and we put together this infographic that shows much of what we accomplished over the past couple of years in terms of launching new master's degrees, revising and updating bachelor's degrees and launching new ones, offering online programs and online courses, and expanding our student services and career advisement. All things focused on providing a really Tulane-worthy quality education to working adults in New Orleans and the Gulf South, and actually around the country. So all of you are on this evening because you're interested in our undergraduate programs. Those combine online study and study at our campuses in New Orleans and in Elmwood, Louisiana. If you want to move on, Chris. So we have, at the undergraduate level, we really have 3 distinct populations that we serve. So people with college experience, college graduates, people who have stopped out of other institutions, sometimes people who have stopped out of multiple institutions. And we offer a rigorous education, but we also offer a lot of flexibility. And so, for example, many students who come to us for undergraduate programs transfer in credits from other institutions. If you're on because you're interested in a post-baccalaureate certificate, for example, you already have a bachelor's degree and you're looking to gain knowledge in a particular applied field, we do all that. We serve working adults who haven't been to college, but most of them have had some kind of formal post-high school or post-secondary training. That includes veterans, for example, and people who are active duty military. It also includes first responders and police officers, firefighters, people with those kinds of experience. And it may be that you haven't been to college, but you have had some kind of training that we can then use to work with you to figure out how to offer you credit for your experience. And then the third population of individuals we serve is recent high school graduates. And so we have actually a wide age range from age 17 to late 60s and sometimes even into the 80s. Our students are diverse in not just educational and professional background, but also in race and gender, ethnicity, and then age, as just as I said. So I think that's always a really important point that we want to make with people who are considering coming to our school. Next slide. So like I said, if you're looking at us for undergraduate programs, it's possible, depending on the program that you're interested in, if it's a certificate, for example, that you could do all the coursework online. But what's more typical is that people take a combination of classes on campus at the Uptown New Orleans Tulane campus, at our suburban campus in Elmwood, Louisiana, in Jefferson Parish, and also online. And while we have some students who take daytime courses because of their schedules or because of the kinds of courses they're interested in, for the most part, students who are taking classes at our campuses are taking classes in the late afternoon, in the evening, and then sometimes on Saturdays. We offer bachelor's degrees in many different fields, many different applied fields, and we're really excited about a lot of the changes that we've been making in these programs. Digital design, for example, which we relaunched a year ago, and where students are literally winning national awards for the quality of the work. Exercise science, which is a program that focuses on preparing people for graduate education in a range of health fields, is a program that we introduced a year ago. Humanities and social sciences, just to highlight a couple others, is these are two programs that have been structured especially for serving working adults. So with the goal of giving you a broad range of exposure to different fields in the liberal arts and sciences, while also helping you to figure out how to put all that knowledge together. So those are our bachelor's degrees. You may be interested in those. And then we also offer certificate programs. So some of our certificate programs require you to have already earned a bachelor's degree in order to enter them. These would be some examples: cybersecurity, game art and animation, for example. We have a teacher preparation and certification program that people can start while they're undergraduates or can come back after they finish their bachelor's degrees. We also, I'm realizing we have a paralegal certificate program that is also post-baccalaureate. Many people who are working in the law field or in something related to law who did not study law-related topics as undergraduates come back for that paralegal certificate and to become officially certified in the program, which is approved by the American Bar Association. And then over on the right of the screen, you can see a number of certificates that are available to people with bachelor's degrees but don't require them. And those tend to be our business certificates. And the people who are in those programs tend to be working in small businesses in the New Orleans and Gulf South region, and just want a very particular set of skills and knowledge that they can use to advance in their careers. So welcome to both populations. We have a big focus on supporting you so that you can succeed in your education at Tulane and after you leave Tulane. So we have an excellent team of academic advisors who will work with you every step of the way, starting even before you enroll. If you want to get advice about transfer of credits, about majors that might be a good fit for your prior experience, about opportunities to earn credit for prior experience, whether that is something like the 15 credits of electives that we give you for proof that you've been through a paramedic training program, for example, or if you have been working in the digital design industry for a number of years and don't have a bachelor's degree, we can work with you to design a portfolio that matches up to our coursework. And if you're able to demonstrate that you have the knowledge that we would otherwise be teaching you, then you will be exempted from those courses and you'll earn the credit toward the degree. Our faculty are a combination of full-time faculty and people who work in industry. And so we have a great balance of faculty who are 100% devoted to supporting students and teaching students, and then a large proportion of people who have day jobs in the field and can bring their professional networks and their real life experience directly into the classroom, whether that's a literal classroom or online. We also have a dedicated career advisor. Her name's Cynthia Washington, and she offers a range of services and workshops that students can take advantage of to improve their interviewing and resume skills, to make sure their LinkedIn profiles are as good as they can be, to develop elevator speeches and things like that. And that's a great service, and we know it's not something that's always available to particularly to adult students. We always want to talk about the network of Tulane that you become a part of, and that's something that you have while you're at the university and for the rest of your career and the rest of your life. And that obviously comes with great benefits, not just the reputation of Tulane, but access to events, access to job listings, access to networks that are focused in particular fields. And so we never want to undersell what it means to be a Tulane alum. So I'll hand this part over to Sheila and Chris to talk about our admissions process.
Great, thanks, Suri. So I'm Sheila Gold, and Chris and I are the folks that you can reach out to when it's time to apply, which we certainly hope that we will be getting applications from each and every one of you all. Our intention is to make this process as easy as possible and as transparent as possible, but we're going to walk you through it a little bit tonight. In order to apply, you'll have to go onto our webpage. There's a pretty big button at the top of it that says apply, and you click that and you start your application portal, which is as simple as your name and your email address. And you'll have to fill out our application. It asks for some biographical information, and then depending on your program, you'll have to answer, particular questions, upload a resume, and then we will need an ID, a current ID, not one that is expired. We also have a $40 undergraduate application fee, but because you all have attended this webinar tonight, you will get that fee waived. So that's our thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedules to be with us this evening. Like I said, you'll have to have your photo ID uploaded, and if it's expired, we will reach out to you to let you know that we'll need a current one. And then we will need transcripts from any institutions that you have attended. So if you're a recent high school graduate, we will need your high school transcript. If you have had any college experience, we would like the transcripts from the colleges as well. So it's as simple as those steps, but I know that because you're listening or you may have questions, you can reach out to us at any time, whether by phone or by email, and we're happy to discuss any of the steps from here on. When it's time to sending your transcripts to us, there are two ways that you can send your transcripts. If you want to send them electronically, you can send them to soparecords@tulane.edu. You don't have to remember that. We're going to be sending you the recording of this webinar this evening with that information. That is also on our website, so you can be reminded of that again. or you can send us an unopened official transcript. So that'll have to be from the institution from which you're sending the transcript, closed and with a stamp seal on the envelope. You can send that through US mail to our Elmwood campus, and that is Tulane SOPA Elmwood campus, 800 East Commerce Road, Suite 100 in Harahan, 70123. And once again, that's also on our website, so you don't have to commit that to memory. So we can either have your electronic transcript or your US Postal Service transcript. So we have 3 different application deadlines. If you're applying to the fall, which has just passed, August 15th is when our application closes. For those of you who are thinking of starting in the spring, January 1st is our application deadline. And if you'd like to start in the summer, May 15th is our application deadline. So once again, that's on our website, so you don't have to remember, but many of you may be looking at the spring, so the date to remember is January 1. All right. Sorry, would you like me to discuss tuition and financial aid?
Actually, I can go ahead and do that. Thanks. So our undergraduate tuition for the current year is $474 a credit. We have some other fees that get charged, about $60 a year in student fees, and then sometimes individual courses, especially technical courses, will have fees attached to them of typically between $50 and up to $150. So on average, you can expect to pay about $525 a credit, which I will say for a institution at the bachelor's level, a private institution is quite reasonable. Although we know it can still represent a challenge, in a relative sense, it's quite reasonable. We have many students who take advantage of financial aid, and we have, in addition to the financial aid staff at Tulane who work with you to get in your forms and do the financial aid packages, we have staff that can help you if you have questions along the way in the process. We do have some institutional aid at the undergraduate level. We have donor scholarships for specific populations of students, and you can find out more about those on our website. We award those once you've already enrolled, and if you see a scholarship fund that looks like you might be eligible for it, then we have an application process that we announce to students, and we have awards that we make once or twice a year, depending on the scholarship fund. We also offer institutional aid to certain groups of students. For example, veterans and active duty military, teachers and others who work in classrooms and instructional roles, and employees, local government employees in New Orleans and in Jefferson Parish. But we encourage you to reach out if you're thinking about how to pay for school and are having challenges with that. We're always willing to have a conversation about how we can help you through the process of figuring out how to make school affordable. I mentioned earlier our credits for prior learning process a little bit. So you may earn up to 24 credits toward your bachelor's degree. This is not something we do with certificate programs, but for the bachelor's degree, you can earn up to 24 credits by developing a portfolio that describes your experience. And we have faculty who work with you, faculty and advisors who work with you. You can even take an elective course, a 3-credit elective course, during which you will develop the portfolio. And then we have a small fee that we charge. I think it's actually $100 per portfolio. And we have faculty who are experts in the field evaluate your portfolio and award you credit for it if your portfolio meets the requirements of our coursework. We actually have a website that can give you a little bit of information about what you might be eligible for. That's on the SOPA website, on our Credit for Prior Learning site. And we work with a nonprofit organization in Chicago called the Council for Adult and Experiential Learning that's developed an excellent process for doing this work and works with hundreds of universities across the United States. So we're here. We want to know if you have questions for us. We've been monitoring the chat. Sounds like hopefully people's connections are working well. Let us know if you have questions about the programs, about the admissions process, about tuition and financial aid, anything like that. And then like we said at the beginning, we are recording the session and we'll be sending you this recording, and also available, Chris and Sheila are available to answer follow-up questions by email or on the phone or through another Zoom call if you want. So we're looking at the chat. Thank you, Timothy Wallace, for telling us that you don't have questions now. And if you have questions about a specific program, we can have our our academic advisors and faculty who work with that program follow up. I see in the Q&A, Lauren had a question about the paralegal certificate program. So we have an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree in general legal studies. And if you earn that degree as part of the degree, you will be certified as a paralegal. We have students in the bachelor's degree who want to be paralegals or who are paralegals. We also have students who are planning to go to law school, and sometimes even students who are admitted to the 3+3 program at Tulane, where you can finish your fourth year or your last year of undergraduate at the same time as you're in your first year of law school and save a year, which is a great thing to do time-wise, but also financially. And then we have students in the legal studies program who want to study all kinds of other things or want to be in all kinds of other careers. I see a question from Craig about having your high school transcript and whether or not that's all you need to apply. I'll let Sheila answer that question.
Thank you. So the question is that all you need to apply? You'll have to fill out our application. We will need you to send your high school transcript. We'll need a valid photo, government issued ID, and then we'll need some biographical information from you. So we will need the completed.
Actually, Sheila, I think your connection just froze. So I'll just jump in. So as Sheila said, it is a pretty simple and straightforward process. You can upload a copy of your high school transcript if you have it, and then we can actually admit you to high school transcript, but before you register for classes for your first term, we'll just need an official version that will come directly from your high school. Am I correct in that, Sheila? No, I'm seeing Sheila is still frozen.
That's right.
Okay.
Now I'm hearing you, so I apologize.
Okay.
But yes, it's actually what I was saying, what I think I froze, which is we can use the transcript that you have. That'll be considered an unofficial.
All right. So Sheila just dropped off. She was having a technical issue. Sorry about that. So I see a few other questions that have come up. I saw Miranda is interested in follow-up about our humanities program. So we'll make sure to provide that to you if you want more information than what's available on our website. I saw a question about the digital design program. We have both a bachelor's degree in digital design, where you can specialize in game arts and animation, interactive design, or graphic design, we also have post-baccalaureate certificate programs. And I see a question from Crystal about if you have a bachelor's degree already and want to go into legal studies, you would want to, I think, probably want to not do a second bachelor's degree, but instead go into the paralegal certificate program, which is the same coursework that you would take as an undergraduate studying for a bachelor's in legal studies. And question from Jason about the application fee. Your application fee is automatically going to be waived because you participated tonight. And so that's something you'll see in your application as you go through it. I see Chris responded to that question. And then from Mark, we also have a question about the Homeland Security Studies program. So we'll make sure to follow up with you about that. That is an undergraduate degree. It's also a nationally ranked graduate degree. We're really proud of that program and would love to share more information with you. So I see, right, and Chris just wrote that we have a Homeland Security webinar this week. We see a question from Ryan Norman that was, I think, maybe got cut off, so we'll want to follow up with you about that. And then a question from Crystal about post-baccalaureate certificates, and can you use that to apply to a graduate program? And yes, you can, along with your bachelor's degree. And maybe we can find out a little bit more from you what field you're specifically looking at. And it looks like we have some definite interest in general legal studies and the 3+3 with Tulane Law School. And so we'll make sure to follow up with those of you who posted questions about legal studies and paralegal studies to get you that information. So if looks like we're probably done with questions for this webinar. Again, we really appreciate your time this evening, myself, Chris, and Sheila. Thanks for bearing with us through our minor technical issues, which happens. And we look forward to seeing your applications. We look forward to following up with you. And we look forward to seeing you in class on ground and online in the very near future. Anything you want to say to close, Sheila?
Nope, we appreciate you all being here, especially on an evening. And we certainly hope that we will see all of your applications soon. And do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions while you're applying.
Great. Thanks, everyone, and have a good evening.
Have a great night.